we've got to, I'm going to go ahead and go with Bower. We're going to go ahead and do the part of the notes that I'm going to talk about. And then you have an activity today that should take the rest of the period and could possibly be your homework if you're not productive. And it's really difficult to do a match game for homework. So you really don't want that to happen. Our plan was to have no homework at all. Okay, I believe I said this yesterday, but I want to say it again today. 7-3 we're going to do quickly. It's going to be rip the Band-Aid off quick day on 7-3. Then we're done with the first half of chapter 3, which means tomorrow is the study guide, Friday is the test. If I have not seen your 7-2 worksheet, I just called you out over it. I'm not trying to say anything bad. I just want to make sure you have it done by the end of class tomorrow, so for sure I know you can do 7-2. We did a checkpoint, and so I'm confident that everyone in the room can at least do the cross multiplying and set up a ratio in 7-1. I'm confident in your scale factor, your proportion, and your ratio in 7-1. I'm not so confident with your 7-2 stuff since I haven't seen everyone's work.
Miss Compton.
Yes, ma'am.
Someone picked up Miss Billings today, so you will not need to cover.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, what was I saying? 7-2 was a whole breed of its own. Remind me, so I've already given you the 3 words from 7-1. What is one of the things we learned in 7-2? The faster you talk, the faster I stop doing math today. What were we talking about? If you looked at your 7-2 notes, what did it say at the top? Similar polygons. So what makes two things similar? What do they have in common? What do they have different?
Angles.
They have the same angles. And we were doing that weird thing where we would put each side and make a fraction for each of them. What do we call that? And we could find a scale factor. If you can't find a scale factor, then they're not similar. That's really all we did yesterday. Find a scale factor over and over and over again. If they were similar, we then wrote something. What is that called? We wrote a similarity statement. Thank you, David. So a similarity statement, like for instance, if we had triangle ABC and then maybe the symbol similar to triangle DEF. Everyone needed a little practice on the scale factor. We really didn't need practice on writing a similarity statement. Why is that? Why do we already know how to write a similarity statement? You did it before. When did you do it before? It wasn't similarity then. You're getting closer to all the things I want to talk about, yeah. We used to have something like this. And what do we call that? If this was a similarity statement, what was that? A congruence statement. And we used to prove congruence statements using 5 postulates. I keep hearing the word postulate. It's like they're on my brain already. 5 different postulates. What were the 5 that we used over and over and over again? Side, angle, side. So let's make a list of them. Thank you, Grant. He's already off. So, side, angle, side. Angle, side, angle. Angle, angle, side. 2 more. Side, side, side. And then the last one, which is always a tricky one because it's the only one. HL. It's the only one that doesn't use S's and A's. He's frustrated. You got it before him. Perfect. Okay. We had to use those 5. We learned and spent lots of time on how to use those 5. So when you read the learning target today, you already knew what SAS was, and you already knew what SSS was, and you wondered why on God's green earth Miss Compton was okay with just 2 letters, and especially when those 2 letters are AA. There were 2 that were banned specifically. Which ones did we ban? Spell it backwards. Spell it backwards. SSA was banned. And what else was banned?
That's what I thought.
There was something that was banned. AA, AAA. Okay, AAA was banned. Guess what? No. AAA and AA are the same thing. In a triangle, if we have 2 angles the same, obviously the third angle just goes with it because they add up to 180. So AA, if you want to change it to AAA because that makes you feel better, you can. It doesn't hurt my feelings. Okay, so today we're using AA is allowed now, SAS and SSS. We're not using any of the others, so it's a much shorter list. I will actually leave that list up just like that on the board during our test. Just like that, since it is coming on so quickly. Okay, but we needed to talk about how this is a little different. Obviously, they're similar triangles. They're not congruent triangles, so this is going to look a little different. SAS looks a little different than it did before. So does SSS. We're going to talk about that. And then you're going to get to do a match game with a partner. Tomorrow, review, study, and then test on Friday. The easiest one is AA. The first little section of 4 is AA. I'm only going to go over a couple. Obviously, AA, easiest one to spot. Do they have 2 angles in common? So, I see a 30. I see a 90. They have 2 angles in common, so therefore it's AA. We're going to practice writing the similarity statement in a few minutes. But of course, I could then put by AA, comma, triangle ABC similar to FED. We'll get to pricing that in a second. But if we can prove one of these 3, we can write the similarity statement. We all agree that's pretty easy. Everyone in the room can spot 90 and 30. They have those in common. So to step it up one notch, they'll do what they did in number 2 and number 3, where an angle is missing and it might be important. So the first thing I do anytime I get a triangle is solve for the 3rd angle. So someone tell me what's missing in triangle A. What did you say, Danny? 25? Isn't it 15? I got 15. Okay, and then what's missing in the bottom triangle? 20. Okay, so we would like for them to have 2 angles in common. I see they both have a 140, but then I'm stuck. This one has a 15 and a 25. This bottom one has 2 20s. I don't have AA. They're not similar. Okay, I'm going to solve this next one for you because I want to make sure you have lots of time on your match game. If I solve for this missing 3rd angle, I get 40, I get 88. Oh my goodness, this one worked out. They both have a 40. They both have an 88. And like I said, AA really means AAA because obviously they have the last angle in common as well. Are there any questions about AA? When I get my match game with my partner, the first thing I do is look through all my pieces and I put which ones I think are AA in a stack so I can look through those first. That's what I would do. AA seems easiest. Okay, now we get to side, side, side. Side, side, side used to be the easiest one to spot. Did they have all 3 sides in common? Yes, and then they were congruent. With similar things, they don't have the same numbers. So instead, we do what we've done all week with similar things. We calculate the scale factor every single time. So I'm going to use, and it makes common sense, the biggest number from this one. I'm going to do the big ones first. The biggest number from this one and the biggest number from that one. So 36 over 28. I'm sure that reduces to something lovely. If you'd rather give me the decimal, that's fine. I think it's 9 over 7. Because times 4 times 4. If fractions are not your thing, decimals will definitely get us there. 1 point what? What is 9 over 7? Someone tell me the decimal. Savvy, can you tell me the decimal?
It's 1.285.
1.285, or we can round it to 1.3 if we want it. I don't know. She's right. I like 3 decimal places. Okay, and then I would go ahead and do the smallest. If the smallest in this one is 18, what's the smallest in the other triangle? 14. So I'm going to do 18 over 14. I'm hoping to again get 9 over 7, which I do. But if Alex doesn't like fractions, he can just compare decimals. Does he keep getting the same decimal every time? Big, small, and then obviously there's a medium. So 27 over 21, which also reduces to 9 over 7, which is still 1.285. So we have side, side, side. So it's kind of a bummer, because side, side, side used to be the fastest. And now, every time you see an S, really that means you need to do the scale factor. So S, S, S means scale factor 3 times. So on this next one, I would have to do the scale factor 3 times, make sure it matched every time. If so, I have side, side, side. Are there any questions about side, side, side? Because I'm flying. Okay, side, side, side's easiest to spot. Obviously, they don't mark any of the angles, or you can't find a single angle they have in common. And if I were really giving away all my secrets today, and I guess I am at the moment, there's not a single one on the match game for some reason that's side, side, side. So the good news is you don't have to do a lot of side, side, side today. Okay, and then last but not least, side, angle, side. Obviously, we're going to have to do the scale factor twice because there are 2 S's. And then they need to have an A in common. The A still has to be between the 2 S's. Notice that the 79 has numbers on the left and on the right. 79 has numbers on the left and on the right. If they put the 22 over here, we would not be able to work this problem. Okay, so we have to calculate the scale factor twice. I'm still using this sad logic of putting the big ones together and putting the small ones together. So the big one from the left triangle is 25. What's the big one from the right triangle? And either you're great at fractions or you use your calculator. That reduces to 5 over 11. Are there any questions about that? And then I'm going to do the same thing with the small ones. 10 over 22, that reduces to good gravy, Miss Conner, 5 over 11 again. I found the same scale factor twice. So depending on how many S's you think, that's how many times you have to find the scale factor. SSS, you have to find it 3 times. SAS, you have to find it twice. My God, you pray it's AA, because then you don't really have to do anything. Okay, so we're going to work a couple at the bottom. We're not going to work 15 or 16. Although on your match game, there is a chance where you might have to solve. But I'm confident you can. Just like yesterday when we set up a proportion and we cross-multiplied to solve for X or Y, that might be needed today. Okay, let's look at number 9. What do you think you need on number 9? Which of the 3? Obviously, no angles are marked. We assume it's side, side, side. So we could do it quickly. 18 is the big number. 12 is the big number. That reduces to 3 over 2. 8 is the small number. 12 is the small number. So 12 over 8. Hey, that also reduces to 3 over 2. Notice that I always do the medium one last. It just makes the most sense to me. You know for sure he's medium if you've already used the other 2. 15 over 10 also reduces to 3 over 2. So the important part of the day is what's going to happen right now. I'm going to write by side, 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 triangle, and then I've got to use my letters. CNO is similar to, and I need the 3 letters for the other triangle. ELT. This would be the important part. You identified which postulate. You wrote the similarity statement. I'm not going to do 10 or 13 because I don't feel like dealing with complicated figures. What do you guess we would need on number 12? Why is it? It can't be angle, angle because This one only has the one angle marked. So it's gonna have to be, if it's gonna work, it's gonna have to be side angle side. Hopefully this is a 36. You'd have to do the math and figure it out. What are we gonna need on number 11? Angle, angle. Obviously that one's a 30, that one's a 50. I have angles that match. It's angle, angle. That one's my favorite. And then 14, what do we need on 14? Side, 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 angle, side, or angle, angle? Side, side, side. Okay, so you understand how this works, even though I did that quickly. If it was too quickly for you, and I do apologize, watch the recording again a couple of times until you got it. I really think you understood, though, because